Hello and welcome to All the Pies. My name's Si with a croaky voice. That is Kev with a minging face. This is the All the Pies Forest review video.
Hello.
Harry,
All right.
how are we feeling?
Honestly,
Got a
rough as a
hangover, haven't
badger's
you?
arse. Aye, rough as a badger's arse all the day I have been. Aye, it was.
Jim always said, "Oh, don't drink too much, so you can do the review video."
Well, I did try, but then actually ended up drinking straight blue vodka. That
I even
EU
spoke to that
stuff.
guy after the match. He says, "Right, stop drinking now."
Yeah. Well, no, it was too late. I'd already drank it by then.
Did you?
Well, that's his dad had this, that gold bottle of vodka, EU, I think it's called.
I've seen them, but it's not my cup of tea. Like
Do you know who it is who owns that company? The EU
Snoop
vodka
Dogg,
company?
50
No,
Cent.
no. Can you remember when Eden Hazard got sent off for kicking the ball boy because the ball boy
Oh,
was
him. Yeah,
wasting time, and
I've seen his.
he was on top of the ball, and Hazard like sort of kicks the ball and got sent off. He
Yeah,
owns that company
I
now.
know.
Like
I know he's a millionaire now. I saw the article ages ago about him.
he
Is it
owns
vodka?
that
Is it?
vodka. Yeah, it's like a blue. They do like flavored vodkas. That do this to you.
All
Do this.
right. Good. I had two holes cut out of my head yesterday.
Very nice.
They,
Let me see. Yeah.
they use like a hot spoon with a blade on, and they gouge it out of your head, and then they use what I imagine's like a car ciggy lighter to like fuse it shut. So
Which hang on, did you go in the time machine and go back to some sort of medieval doctor to get this done? Like
I
that
didn't say I went to the
sounds.
doctor, did I?
Well,
I went
it didn't
to,
sound like a doctor. It
I
sounds
went,
like
I
you
went,
went to a fucking dungeon.
I went to Percy Main Social Club. It's not even open anymore. That has been going for years. No, the doctor. That's some new machinery they do to stop bleeding. They use heat to fuse it, and you don't need stitches. Because I got loads of weird shit going on my head because I've shaved my head since I went bald at the age of 22. So the doctor used a really nice comment. He says he's about my age. He went, "Aye, as we get older, the more barnacles we get on my head."
Oh well, yeah.
I,
Wise words.
I thought
Wise words.
I thought that was poetic. The more barnacles we get on my head. I
Yeah.
was like, I want as many barnacles whacked off as possible. So I chopped a few off and put a simulator on, and I was good as gold, and I went.
So yeah, you asked them to whack off your barnacle.
Whack off my barnacles, aye. Whack a
Mm.
few welks off my napper. So yeah, good.
Right,
So I
shall we
had a
talk
bit
about
of
the
a sore
football?
heat. A bit of a sore heat, aye. And then it's Friday night kickoff, which I was looking forward to. So the lineups exactly the same as we started against Wolves. Miggy looks like he's picked up a knock. So he wasn't on the bench. So Murphy did start the same as he did against Wolves.
3
There
weeks I
was
hear about that.
a few weeks, so I suppose the international break's coming at a good time to get some players back to full fitness. There was rumours going around we saw on socials that Shaw maybe had picked up a knock. That was after we done our preview video. So we thought maybe Lascelles would have been coming in for Shaw. But no, Shaw was absolutely fine. And Lascelles was remaining on the bench. So exactly the same team lineups. Moving on to Forest, I couldn't tell you half the team, but I do know that our one fear came true. I say fear, our one concern came true, and that was that Brennan Johnson did start.
Yeah, so maybe there was a little bit of mind games from
Cuba.
Cooper. Yeah,
Right.
but as it turned out, didn't really
Yeah.
have that big of an impact on the
He
game, really,
didn't.
did he?
No. So before we get into it, I want to say Forest fans sounded absolutely wicked, as well as Newcastle fans. Two proper football teams with two proper sets of fans. I've seen on socials all the Forest fans giving the Newcastle fans respect and vice versa. Seemed like a great time. Seemed like a wicked atmosphere. Would have kind of enjoyed being at that game. Like seemed like it was.
Yeah, it looked really good, didn't it? The atmosphere. When I was singing Mull of Kintyre before the game, sounded really loud, and it's not the biggest ground, but it creates it certainly creates an energy about it, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And they I don't know if I'd go as far as to say the word fortress, but they hadn't lost there since
No,
September.
since September, that's right.
So yeah, and that is down to them fans as well. It's not a good place to go if you're a traveling footballer, but if you're a traveling fan, it seemed like a really good place to go and watch a game of football.
Well, apparently they were very hospitable with the Newcastle fans, and again they were saying that when they came up here for the first game back in the Premier League, in however many years, at the start of the season, that us fans were very good with them, and it was all good banter, and as it friggin' should be in football.
Yeah,
Yeah, City
like
ground was bouncing, and Newcastle got off to a flyer. 6 minutes in, Willock. Nipping down the right, crossed one in. Isak hit the ball, thought it was in.
all right. Well, the Willock one, I think he done the harder part of using his pace to even get there for it because he was behind
No,
the
I messed
defender
up.
to
Like,
start
that
off
was
with.
wrong. Yeah, no, Willock skied it. It was
Aye, Willock.
Murphy in for Willock, the first one. Yeah.
Aye, yeah. So he skied it.
Murphy down
Aye,
the right, crossed to Willock. Yeah, and he skied it.
and yeah, he did the hard part of getting there because he was behind the defender and didn't look as though he was going to got there. Once he got there, probably should have done a bit better. But it was early warning signs, wasn't it? Because
Yeah,
as per usual, we flew out the traps.
we did. And so then moving on to about a few minutes later, I think about 5 minutes later, then it was a Trippier free kick in a position where we thought probably not going to take a shot from there, but maybe he's going to put some whip on it and get it in. But he plays a sneaky little one through underneath everyone's feet to Isak, who then does get a deflection and it hits the ball.
Yeah, I think it took everybody by surprise apart from Isaac. He was really switched on to whether the practice in the training ground or whether it was just a spur of the moment, so he had some space. But yeah, I mean, the shot wasn't the greatest shot, but then it came up off the defender and then onto the crossbar, and it looked like one of those ones that could have just pinged in at any second. But yeah, it was nice bit of awareness from Trippier and the free kick to play that sneaky ball.
Well, that wasn't the only time that the Trips and Isak seemed to link up together. Seemed to like have some previous things planned out between them. We'll get into another one later on in the game. But it was pretty good that Trips and Isak did have that relationship yesterday because ASM seemed completely off the boil.
Yeah, he wasn't having his best game at all, was he? I don't know. He's just lacking consistency, isn't he? I mean, as much as we were singing his praises the other day, and rightfully so, because he'd had a great game the previous game. We need to start seeing these good games being put back to back now. And yeah, he wasn't great, was he, in the first half?
He wasn't, but I didn't think he looked completely right. I didn't think he, but I always give people the benefit of the doubt and say, I don't think he looks right. Turns out he didn't because he was taken off at half time. But before half time, we've got more to cover before we get to half time because I think it was just before the half hour mark from goal kick to Navas to Shelby. Shelby plays it all the way down the pitch on the right side. Ayew is on it. It goes to Botman. Botman cannot pass it across to Shaw because Emmanuel Dennis is on Shaw. So all it requires is a neat back pass to Pope, who can then just whack it, hit and hope and clear it out. But Botman has an absolute clanger and somehow like does a 3-year-old's touch when they go to boot the ball, a little 3-year-old, that kind of touch. And Emmanuel Dennis still has a lot to do. To be fair, he cuts inside, he gets it, and then he kind of flick chips it over in between Botman and Pope. And I think it was a clanger by Botman, but it required an exceptional finish. And I think Dennis did that.
Well, I don't think Botman meant to kick it like that, so
No.
Dennis should have been offside. if we're going on the new rule, apparently,
Yeah,
we'll get into that. But no, it was a mistake, wasn't it? And
yeah.
the problem is we're not having that many mistakes, but when we are doing mistakes, they seem to be big ones,
Yeah.
and we're getting punished for them.
Yeah.
Now that goal for me definitely came against the run of play, and
He did.
yeah, don't get us wrong, Dennis took it well, and I was actually talking about Dennis before the game, with my girlfriend's dad, and I was saying how I really rated him when he was at Watford, and that I thought he was going to be a good signing for them, and then he went on to score, but didn't really do a lot more apart from that. He was gifted that chance, and he took it well. But yeah, I wasn't panicking. I wasn't panicking at that stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, just 5 minutes later, Longstaff just outside the box also gets a deflection, but yet another chance hits the woodwork in the first half.
Yeah, big deflection, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the way it looped up as well. It just looked as though it was like looping over the top of the keeper. Keeper was no fault of his own, nowhere near it. Such was the big deflection. But yeah, to be denied by the woodwork again, we were.
Mm-hmm. And so we did dominate that first half, and it seemed I was really a bit pissed off, thinking, right, we're going to go into the break 1-0 down, where we really shouldn't be. We should be in the lead, if anything. But then stoppage time, the last minute of added time in the first half, Willock bombs down the right, crosses in, and Alexander Isak with some kind of go-go gadget extendable ankle kind of does some kind of dark arts trickery with the side heel of his foot, pops it in, and it was of course intentional, and it was back to all square at the break.
I mean, it was intentional. It definitely was intentional because it hits off his shin, but he's realised the ball's behind him a bit, isn't he? So he's just stuck a limb out and thought, right, let's just try and get something on
Just
it,
get something to
which
work
shows
with,
good agility. And then, did you notice like times seemed to have froze for like a second after the goal went in?
It going slow.
Well, not just that, even the fans, the Newcastle fans, didn't. When the goal goes and you go, hey, like they didn't. If you watch it back, you'll notice that they don't cheer straight away. There's like a 2-second gap, and they only realise it's when they see Isaac running away.
Yeah.
Now I was watching Adam Pearson's channel today, because he was in the crowd and he was doing like a vlog within the crowd, and when that goal went in, he even goes, "Oh, it's hit the post. He's hit the post," and like. And it's not until Isaac wheels away, and about 2 seconds later, they go, "Oh bloody hell, we've scored!" Like time just seemed to have frozen for that particular moment. And yeah, no, watching it at home, it did get slightly awkward for a moment because I got really excited when it went in, and I was jumping about, and I was like, "Oh, actually, I better rein it in a little bit. I don't want to sort of rub it in too much with with Dad." So yeah, I was like. I was reining it in a little bit, but I still celebrated.
Well, I didn't rein any voices gone. Me and the boy were screaming the house down. Well, so yeah, we'll go in 1-1, absolutely buzzing at half time. That we're back on level pegging, because I feel it's the least of what we deserved for the first half performance. So coming up for the second half, straight away, there's a change made, and that is ESM off for Elliot Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a strange one. I thought myself, has he been a little bit hasty, or as Maxi, like you said earlier on, is he carrying a bit of a knock? But as it turned out, was a good move, and whether it was enforced or whether it wasn't, because Elliott performed a lot better than he did the last time he played, which
He
was,
did.
which was against Liverpool, I believe, where he didn't really cover himself in glory. But as I think you're going to go on to, made pretty much a near enough instant impact.
He did. Well, he came on and he seemed in the first few minutes to be everywhere in the attacking half for us. He seemed to be in every position. And then he had a shot straight away from the left side at an acute angle, which was saved by Navas.
It was a good save.
And then down the right, we have Isak, who again seemed to be all over in that third, just dominating in every different position, seemed to have a free reign. It was a lovely dink of a chip / cross from Alexander Isak, finished by Elliot Anderson to get his first goal for his boyhood club, Newcastle United. The crowd erupt, our house erupts. Great moment for the kid. Eddie Howe's up, Tyndall's up, fucking tremendous. 2-1 up. Then we'll see VAR. Now, what the fuck happened there? Because I've still tried to read it. I've read every tweet about it, and I'm still none the friggin' wiser about what went on.
So basically, Longstaff was offside when Isak played the ball in. Now, Isak's here, Longstaff is over here, and he's playing the ball this way, away. So effectively, he's not interfering with play.
Not interfering with play. Exactly.
Not interfering with play because he's playing the ball away. Now, and this is where it just gets absolutely bonkers.
So their defender, their last man, contacts the ball, kicks the ball. It wasn't an accidental contact.
Yeah. So what? Right, so he kicks the ball, right? Yeah. So we'll go through why they've gave it as offside first of all. So what they're trying to say, and remember, what the referee is saying.
This all happened. VAR in the space of a few moments, and then the referee looking for about 20 seconds tops. All of this had to have taken place. All of these different rules, section A1, 27 part B minus algebra sign wiggle. All the referee had to know all this in his head in that 20-second space. Go on, continue.
Yeah, well, exactly. So it didn't happen, did it? Now, what they're trying to say is that rule that you just mentioned there, I can't remember it word for word, is that that defender, if it was almost compared like a deflection, he never meant to kick that ball. So it was almost like a deflection. So it was a deflection. He's facing the ball. He's pulled his foot back to kick it. He's kicked the ball, right? The ball has went back out in the opposite direction to the goal. So he's cleared it away from the goal. Yes, it hasn't went where he's wanted it to go. It was a mishit, yeah, but it wasn't a deflection. It wasn't a deflection. He knew what he was doing, and he's pulled it back, and he's kicked the ball. If that is a deflection, then every time somebody kicks the ball, it's a deflection. Because it's absolutely bonkers. Now, and I don't want to go on too much. I know you get some, you don't get some. Pope should have been sent off last week. They should have had a penalty last week. But this is every single game now. Yeah. Every single game, and it's absolutely bonkers. How that could be given offside, because they're saying that, and the referee's gone and looked at it. And he's looking at the screen, like that, and he's looking at it, and he's seen him kick a ball and say, "Oh, that's a deflection, that. He's offside." No, he didn't. He'll have had somebody in the ear saying, "Right, we think the rule is this, and we think it's that, and we think it's that." And they're getting it wrong. So him going over to that screen, he wasn't looking at that and going, "Oh, right, I'm looking at this to see if it's a deflection." Because if he's going over there to look at that to see if it's a deflection, he can see it's not a deflection. He's
going to see if Longstaff is offside. That's what he's going over for. That's what he's going
to look at, right? So it's it's coming out later on. Oh, well, this is the rule, and that's the rule, and that's the rule. He wasn't thinking about that at the time. As far as I'm concerned, that goal was perfectly fine
They put the
because
rule up
when he
on
played the
Sky,
ball in,
and it still took us about 5 minutes just to read the bit that they put up. They actually put the screenshot on Sky at the end. It took us 5 minutes to read it, let alone understand what was going on.
oh, I
Gary
mean,
Neville and Jamie Carragher were laughing like that's ridiculous.
because it's laughable. Because it's laughable. Oh, look at Longstaff when Isaac plays the ball in. Yeah, he's in an offside position. Yeah, but he's not played the ball to Longstaff. He's played across and Longstaff is behind him. As soon as that defender then clears it out, you can't be offside. You can't be offside. You just can't be offside. And
Yeah.
I know they're saying, well, you know, he's then interfering with play. Yeah, but the defender's kicked it, not our player. How can he be offside if it's their player that's kicked the ball, not us? And
So
it needs sorting out. It needs ironing out because it's going to start. Luckily, it didn't affect us in this game, but you know, and I get why Wolves were so upset last week. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
these decisions are going to cost people. Going to cost people leagues. Are going to cost them to have relegations. Are going to cost people trophies.
Champions
And
League places.
Champions League places, and you know, it's. I know we were going into some butterfly effect stuff here, but you know that can be the difference between hundreds of millions of pounds down the line. If you miss out on a Champions League spot, if you get relegated, if you miss out on a promotion or anything like that, it needs to be nipped in the bud. And I know Howard Webb's come in to try and sort it out, but if I'm being honest, if anything, it's getting worse.
But I thought the whole point of the VAR was to only come into play now if the referee has made an absolute clanger with certain decisions. Offside's fair enough, but not to then bring in a rule which has probably never ever been implicated in the history of the league. To then bring that in to show the referee.
This is
Explain
me point.
what he's looking at, because you wouldn't know what he was looking at. You wouldn't know what he was looking for there.
And this is one of my point is, so it's either you know, when you go into the screen to look at the offside. So normally you don't go to the screen and look at it. He's either offside or he's not. So what was he going to the screen to look for? It's not to see where he was in relationship to the player in front of him, because we know he's in an offside position. He can only be going to that screen to decide whether that defender who kicked the ball was a deflection or whether he meant to kick the ball. And if he's turning around and saying that he looked at that and he believes that that defender didn't mean to kick that ball when he's pulled his leg back and he's put his boot through it. Yes, it didn't go where he wanted it to go, but he meant to kick the ball and he kicked the ball away from the goal. If he's saying that that was a deflection, he shouldn't referee ever again.
Yeah. Well, after that, this is how I already had a sore throat, but I was screaming after that. I was furious, like really angry. And I was angry for the majority of the game. After that, there was a great deal left. And I just thought, here we go. We've been robbed. We should have had 3 points. We're coming in with a point. Top four could be slipping away through something that isn't even our own fault. That's some idiotic decision by someone in Stockley Park. Furious, absolutely furious. Yeah, the board goes up for 6 minutes extra time. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to play this out. Fucking 1 point on the road. Like I say, just really, really, really pissed off. Then the ball comes into the box. Obviously, we're just pinging them in, just hoping to get something in the dying minutes of the game. And then, how do we pronounce it again? Niakate, their defender. Anyway, he decides all of a sudden he's going to start a fucking Mexican wave in the box at the last minute. Like he was showing Navas what you should be doing. Like, oh, you should do this when you save. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. What was he thinking? I don't know what he was thinking. It was just, the more I watch it back, the more I laugh. I just think that's ridiculous.
It was a definite penalty.
Handball penalty. 94th minute. I was like, raw, and the nerves were going in my belly. And then straight away, Navas gets up in Isak's face to try and, You know what I mean? Play mind games.
No. Did you not? There was that bit of genius, wasn't there?
With that,
Because
no,
is that what
I'm
you're
getting
moving
onto
on
that.
to?
Straight away, he knows it's a penalty. He's up in Isak's face. Obviously, Isak being was striker. But then he looks around and it's Trippier who's got the ball. And I was convinced, as I think everyone else was, because Trippier is on our penalty taker list. I believe after Wilson, it was Trips who was next on the list before we had Isak. I believe Trips was next on the list of penalty takers. So I thought, all right, he wants to not have to put that pressure on Isak. He's willing to take one, being the acting captain. He's willing to take it, do it all for glory. Not interested in what Navas is saying whatsoever. I couldn't give a shit. It's Trippier. He's been there. He's done it all. Has the ball, places the ball, picks it up again, waits till the ref moves everyone back, then just gets this fucking dark smile across his face and hands it back to Isak, who comes in. I was like, get in. That is beautiful. That is lovely.
It's
Can
what a
Isak
captain
finish it?
does as well. He just took the
Yeah,
pressure off him. Just took the
yeah,
pressure off him. It was really clever, really clever. Like you say, the keeper's getting up in Isaac's face, and he's just took that out of the equation right there and
yeah,
then, hasn't he?
yeah.
And I mean the fact that Isaac didn't. Is this something they've talked about previously? Because it wasn't like Isaac was like, "Oh no,
Oh,
I'm
didn't
sure I
argue
should be
yet.
taking the penalty" or anything
No,
like that. Almost like he knew he was going to give him it back at the
yeah,
end, So I wonder if this is something they've talked about, like if you ever get a penalty and the keeper, the defenders are trying to sort of play mind games on whoever the penalty taker is, just pass the ball to somebody else and wait for it to
yeah.
settle down.
It's either that or they've come up with that, or not. Then if that's not the case, then Isak is a fucking tremendous team player because
Mm-hmm.
he's listened instantly what his captain said.
Mm-hmm. No arguments whatsoever, was there?
No arguments with the captain. So either
And
way,
then
I like it no matter what was the precursor to it. I like it.
and then
Yeah,
cool as a cucumber.
Isak comes up. Very cool penalty. You said you weren't a fan of it at the time. Was that because you found it nerve wracking that he didn't just welk it?
What's that?
The penalty.
The actual penalty? Oh no, I was fine with the penalty.
When you didn't see that last night when you were pissed.
Did I? Well, I don't know what
No,
I was talking about then. No, yeah.
no,
Well,
right.
I've seen it back. I was pissed last night, and yeah, no, it was a good penalty. Good
Yeah,
penalty.
because
Nice
she
finish.
sends Navas just to one side, and then it's just a lovely, cool, placed finish. And then Newcastle fans just fucking erupt. Isak's straight in with him as his usual thing. He just dives in.
See somebody getting arrested at the celebration.
The place goes nuts.
Somebody got arrested during the celebration. I caught that. Somebody getting headlocked out. I don't know, but I think I don't know if it was one of the Newcastle fans or possibly one of the home fans that got across. But yeah, no, it was just limbs everywhere. What a feeling. I mean,
but yeah, and for that last 2 minutes, I just don't think there was a Newcastle top that remained on for that last few minutes of extra time. They were being spun around our heads in the way end.
And Freddie. I was gonna say Freddie Shepherd instead of Eddie Howe.
Freddie Shepherd.
Freddie Shepherd. What the hell?
Him on a touch, Eddie.
Eddie Howe has now shown that he does think Isaac is ready for a full 90 minutes in his team because he played the full match, didn't he?
He played the full match, and he was also not exactly a doubt to many people, but he was man of the match as well, rightly so.
Yeah. And heartbreak if you're a Forest fan. All football fans have been there before, where you think yourself, oh, we've managed to get a draw out of this, or especially when not trying to sound condescending or anything like that. When you're up against one of the better teams, we're sat in fifth position because we're a good team, and when when you're down the bottom scrapping, and you come up against a big team in what you perceive as one of the more difficult games, you look to try and get those points. And so, yeah, it must have been real heartbreak for them. But if we're being honest, I think we were worthy winners. Like,
Well, it's nothing more than we deserved. We deserved 3 points, and luckily, super luckily, thanks to Niakate with his fucking incredible flailing, wailing arm man impression, we got the win. And
did.
we're recording this now on the Saturday night. Tottenham drew 3-3 with Southampton, which now means we are in fifth with 2 games in I can't even speak. 2 games in hand of Spurs and only 2 points behind them. We also, our next game, because we've got the dreaded international break, but I suppose it's probably good coming at a decent time for injuries and getting everyone fully fit again. So in a fortnight's time, our next game is against Man United. If we beat Man United at St James's Park, we'll both go on 50 points and we move into 3rd position on goal difference.
I know. See, I mean, a couple of results. It's amazing what I can do. You know, a couple of weeks ago, fans as well, we were looking behind a little bit, weren't we? And saying, now we're looking ahead of ourselves again. We're looking up instead of down, and that is the attitude that they need to keep from now till the end of the season. Can't worry about what's happening behind you or being overtaken. You can only sort of influence what you can do, and I've got a feeling we're going to beat Man U. Like,
I fucking hope so. I hope so. But yeah, Champions League football, as it always has been, is still firmly in our own hands. It is in our own destiny.
it's important, I
We
think.
now
You
have
know,
we'll have a 5-point lead on Liverpool, and then after that it's Brighton, who will have a lead on. They have 2 games in hand, but even if they won their 2 games in hand, they would still be, I believe, 2 points behind Newcastle. So yeah, it is completely in our hands.
I mean, it's always important to finish as high as you can, but if we can finish in the top 4, I mean, we've just completely fast forwarded what was the game plan by like 3 years. By 3 years, they were saying, you know, we expect them to be contending within about 5 years or so. Hang on, the end of the first full season, if
A
you can
cup
finish in
final
4th, the
and the cup final.
in the cup final. Well, not just that. When you think about monetary as well, firstly, it gives us so much more room with the FFP handcuffs. So the money that you get from Champions League will be significantly more than what you would get from, like, say, Europa Conference or Europa League. You're
Of
going to be getting
course.
a lot more.
But more
And
importantly, the players that it would attract.
tracked, yeah, 100%.
You know for a
100%.
fact, like a Diaby would rather have Champions League than Europa Conference. Do you know what I mean? The players that will attract having Champions League football will be the main thing.
And everybody was saying a few weeks ago, what would you rather have, the trophy or the top 4? Now, you would rather have the trophy, yes, but when you think about it, really, in the cold light of day, the top 4 is more important for getting those things going ahead. Yeah, you know, we're all desperate for a trophy, and you know, I was as heartbroken as anybody when it didn't happen. And if you'd asked us then, what would you rather have, the trophy, the top 4? Of course, I would have said the trophy. You know, it's been so
I
long
still
since
would
we've
now
had
though.
one.
I would still
Oh
I
yeah, yeah, I
would have
still
took
would. But
I
when
would
I
have still
think about
took top 6 and trophy.
which one's more
Mm.
important for the actual club going forward, then you would probably say the financial benefit you get from finishing top 4 is going to give you
Oh, of course it is.
a lot more scope to go and have more of those cup finals.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
I would give anything for that score to have been different. At
oh yeah,
Wembley.
God, yeah, I'm still not over it. I'm still not
No.
over it. Slowly getting there. I mean, these last 2 wins have helped sort of bury it a little bit, so I can get back excited again about the
If our
prospect of
next
finishing in the
match is
top
a
4.
win, that will really help. That will
Yeah.
really help. Put Savalon on that wound.
Who? Savile?
Savalois.
Ah,
You
right.
put Savalois on your blisters. I'm gonna rub some on my heat scars in it. Aye.
Yeah.
So we're having a game for a fortnight. International break coming up, which gives us plenty of time to prepare for the Man U game at home. which is it a six? I'm going to say it's a 6-pointer. I hate it when everyone else goes, this one's a 6-pointer. But this one is a 6-pointer, I believe.
Kind of is, yeah. Although I think Man U was probably going to finish in the top 4, relevant of whether they win or lose
Definitely
against us.
There's that one position that's up for grabs, and it's between ourselves, Spurs, Liverpool, and Brighton.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. And it's going to go right down to the wire. Jam-packed month in April, isn't it? We've got 3
away games on the trot.
Back away games,
yeah, we've got Man U at home, 3 away games, and then 1 final home game.
So who's the 3 away games? It's West Ham.
So it's Man United at home, then it's West Ham, then it's Brentford, then it's
Villa,
and then it's Tottenham at home, which is another 6-pointer.
Massive month, absolutely massive month.
Huge month
in hindsight, and this international break probably is coming at a good time for us. So everybody can get sort of patched up and get ready because it's going to be
breaking news as of yesterday on Sky Sports post-match Eddie Howe interview. He said the lads are off to Dubai.
Dubai.
Yep. They're off to Dubai for some warm weather training during the international break. No doubt they'll play a little friendly or a warm-up game out there. Get some sun.
Wonder why they're not going to Saudi.
Name them. I don't know. But
they're off. They went to Saudi every other time, haven't they?
Well, he said they're off to Dubai.
Very nice.
So hopefully they'll all come back refreshed, revitalized, rejuvenated, and all the R words, and ready to rollick Manchester United.
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
Yeah. So that was our Forest review. International break coming up. We will have some videos. We're definitely going to do some more interesting videos during the international break when boring, friendly international football's on. We're going to have some much better crack on my videos for you all enjoy. So if you want to know when that is coming out, then subscribe to our socials below. Also hit the bell notification, because then you'll know when all our videos come out. We may have a special guest or two popping up during the international break. Remember to hit that subscribe button, super important for the channel to help us move forward. And comment below with what your takes were on that offside decision or any other points during the game, what you think it's going to be, where you think we're going to finish, or if you've got any clearer takes on that offside decision. If you know the rules better, then feel free to clarify what we've said. Put that in the comments. That also does help the Alchemy Bob show our videos out there. We want to push the All the Pies channel to the best of our ability, and we are on the road to 1K. We're almost at 400 subs, which is not bad for just over a month and a bit. So thank you for your support. Thank you to all the people who chat. There's a few familiar faces I keep seeing in the chat. Thank you to those. We'll start giving shout outs very soon. Hopefully do some lives in the latter part of the season. But thank you. We really appreciate it. Me and Kevin. And we'll see you during the international break for some fun, some banter, some crack, and some patter. See you later, Kevin.
See you later. Come on.